Hello there, young scientist. Welcome to our lesson in Science 5. We are now at quarter 1 and week 3. So, for this week, we're going to discuss matter in daily life and matter in its three states. So, as all we know, matter is all around us, and everything we see, touch, smell, or even taste is made of matter. So, from the air that we breathe to the food that we eat, matter plays a big part in our daily life. And as we all know, matter exists in three main states. So we have the solid, liquid, and gas. And these three states of matter have their own characteristics. So solids have fixed shape and volume, like book or a chair, while liquids like water or juice take the shape of their container but have a definite volume. And lastly, gases such as air or steam have no fixed shape or volume and can spread out to fill any space. So understanding these states helps us make a sense of the world around us. So that's how important matter is in our daily lives. All right, so let's have our discussion and let's end our introduction there and let's move on with our discussion. So actually, for Science 5, as I observed from the lesson exemplars given by the DepEd, it's more on, especially in this quarter, it's more on observation, light experiments, and having the students or the learner learn from what they observe and from the outcome of their experiments. So expect a little less discussion and more on talking and explaining about the results of the activities. Okay, so for some activities, we can foresee them because it's only basic, but more or less, they can have their own interpretation based on their experiment. So ano ba yung kanila talagang nakita and observe from their experiment? So yun ang mas mahalaga. So as for this video, we can just we can just foresee kung ano ba yung possible outcome and yung pwedeng explanation from the outcome of their experiment or observation. Alright, so let's move on to our next slide. Okay, so let's have our day 1. So mostly for day 1, we're going to have a short review of the last lesson. Okay, and of course, aside from the short review, the learning competency and the learning objectives are also given. So the learners identify objects at home and in the classroom as solid, liquid, or gas. Recognize common materials seen and used at home or in school as solid, liquid, or gas. Okay, as for the content, we're going to talk about matter in daily life and matter in its three states. Okay, let's have our gentle reminder. And when conducting experiments, even with common materials, precaution and safety procedures must still be followed. Accountability and responsibility. Learners should understand that different materials can be beneficial if used in the right and proper way and can be harmful if used otherwise. So be careful, okay? Even if it's a simple experiment, let's always have our safety reminders, okay? So lagi tayong mag-ingat, kahit simpleng experiment lang ang ating gagawin, kahit simple materials lang ang gagawin. So sabi nga dito, kapag ginamit natin ang tama, magiging beneficial ito, makakabuti ito sa ating pag-aaral. Pero kapag pinaglaruan natin at hindi natin ginawa at sinunod yung instruction doon sa ating experiment, ay maaari itong maging harmful o makadisgrasya sa atin. So, always be careful when having your experiment. So, wag maglaro at laging makinig kay teacher. Alright, so in our past lessons, we discussed the different characteristics of matter and its different phases. We also familiarized ourselves with their properties. So this week, let's get closer to the different materials we use at home in our classroom and be able to classify them as solid, liquid, or gas. So after discussing the different characteristics and phases and properties of solid, liquid, and gas. So this time, hahanapin na natin sa paligid natin kung ano-ano ba yung mga bagay na ginagamit natin sa pang-araw-araw, and you need to classify them if they are solid, liquid, or gas. Malay natin, ma-surprise tayo because sa isang material pala, incorporated na lahat si solid, liquid, and gas. So, ito yung mga simpleng bagay na hindi natin masyadong napapansin kasi nga lagi na nating, halimbawa, lagi nating ginagamit in our day-to-day life. But then, for educational purposes, so we need to know these things na for us to appreciate this lesson. Okay, so let's have our next slide. Okay, so for our short review, we have matters relay. So our teacher will prepare a box, mystery box, and inside the box, pwedeng may mga object siya, depende sa laki ng box, and depende sa kayang bitbitin ni teacher ng mga gamit. Pwede niyang lagyan ng mga bagay-bagay, or pwedeng combination ng mga objects and strips of paper kung saan nakasulat yung mga bagay, and then the students or learners will identify if it is, or they will categorize it or classify if it is solid, liquid, or gas. Of course, hindi magdadala si teacher ng LPG tank dyan. Okay, so pwede lang isulat sa strips of paper or meta cards, yan, pwede yan. And then ilalagay ni teacher sa box, and then kukuha si student, pwedeng sa board or pwede rin sa notebook. So, and then if sa board, the student will put the paper kung saang table siya dapat nakalagay. Kung sa solid ba, liquid, or gas. Okay, so, something like this. Okay, so for our unlocking of vocabulary, we have vocab marathon. Okay, for this part, the student or learners need to have their dictionary, if possible, or they can rely on their schema or prior knowledge in answering our vocabulary. Why? Because these terms are common and were discussed previously on their science subject. So define these words or terms using a dictionary. Of course, matter. What is matter? Solid, liquid, gas, texture, weight, mass, molecules, shape, and color. So the teacher can have it as their assignment para for this time he or she can ask a student to define these terms or give definition for these words. Okay, so that's all for day 1. Now let's head on to day 2. Okay, so we're going to identify objects at home as solid, liquid, or gas. So this time, let's have more activity or more observation for this day. So states of matter sorting game. So paano ba ito gagawin? Okay, so the teacher can have different pictures like this one, piles of wood, glass of milk or glass of water, balloon, hand sanitizer, and diamond. Okay, so anong gagawin nila doon? So same thing like for the short review, pwedeng mag-cut out si teacher ng mga pictures, and then yung real pictures, or pwede naman clip arts, and then the students will categorize or classify them if it is solid, liquid, or gas. Okay, so more like on pwede rin i-categorize yun kung mga gamit within the school or yung mga objects inside the house, or objects na makikita nila within the community. So for day 3, okay, let's have our worked example and let's investigate. Okay, it's activity time. Okay, so for activity 1, household states of matter. So scavenger hunt. You can have this on your on your learning activity sheet number 1. So what are the materials that we need? Checklist, pen and paper, various household materials. Okay, instruction, you're going on a scavenger hunt. to find objects around your home such as your kitchen, bedroom, living room, and garage or garden. Classify these objects according to their state of matter and describe their characteristics. Use your knowledge of the properties of each state of matter to make their classifications. Complete the table below. Item 1 is given as an example. Okay, so for kitchen, okay, an example would be water. So name of matter is water. Classification is liquid, and its characteristics: water takes the shape of the glass and flows. So you're going to give some of the objects, okay, that you can find in the kitchen, in the bedroom, living room, and garage or garden. And then classify if they are solid, liquid, or gas, and then give some characteristics. Okay, let's learn. Okay, let's learn more. So can you share an item? Okay, so can you share an item you found from the scavenger hunt and explain why you classified it as solid, liquid, or gas? Okay, so for example, I found a glass of water and I classified it as a liquid because the water takes the shape of the glass and flows. It doesn't have a fixed shape like a solid, and it doesn't expand to fill the entire room like a gas. So may explanation, may description, or may paliwanag kung bakit kinlassify niya yung glass of water as liquid. Were there any items that were difficult to classify, and why do you think that was? So may mga bagay ba na nahirapan kayong i-classify? Saan ba to dapat? Gas ba to? Liquid ba to? And bakit sa tingin mo nahirapan ka, no? Bakit nahirapan kang i-classify? Okay, so for example, I found a jar of peanut butter and I wasn't sure whether to classify it as solid or liquid. It's thick and spreadable like a solid, but it can also flow and take the shape of its container like a liquid. I think it's a mixture of both. So medyo nahirapan siya sa pag-classify sa peanut butter, no? Kasi para siyang solid kasi nasa spread naman niya, but para din daw itong liquid kasi nagfo-flow, no? Kapag medyo hindi masyadong sticky yung ating peanut butter or the usual peanut butter that we had, no, here in the Philippines. So how does understanding the states of matter help us interact objects in our home or environment? So understanding the states of matter helps us know how different substances will behave and how we can use them effectively. For example, knowing that water is a liquid helps us pour it into a glass without spilling. Okay, ibig sabihin, kapag alam natin at kapag na-recognize natin, halimbawa yung tubig ay isang liquid, so matutulungan tayo nito na ibuhos ito sa isang lagayan na dahan-dahan para hindi matapon. Kasi yun lang yung kayang hawakan. I mean, kumbaga, for example, yung isang baso, yun lang yung kaya niyang dami ng tubig na mapunuan, no? Kaya kapag sumobra doon sa lagayan, mag-overflow na yung ating tubig. So for day 4, so identifying objects in the classroom as solid, liquid, or gas. Okay, so yung ating day 3, identifying objects at home. So ang day 4 natin, objects inside our classroom. So we're going to classify them. Okay, so where do I belong? So we're going to use a Venn diagram. So materials at home and materials in the classroom. So you can put, no, sa the yellow one, yung yellow part, materials na nakikita natin sa bahay. And then sa pangalawa naman, materials na nakikita natin sa classroom. And then sa pangatlo, or yung gitna, ano yung materials na nakikita natin both inside our home and inside our classrooms. For example, chairs, tables. Okay, so meron tayo sa bahay niyan, meron din tayo sa school. So ano ba yung wala? So blackboard, big blackboards, meron tayo niyan sa school pero wala tayo niyan sa bahay. So another one, for example, can we say sofa? Say for some schools wala namang sofa inside their classroom. Okay, but for some they have, no? Ano pa? For common television. So nowadays, very common na nakakita tayo ng television inside the classroom. So it is being used as a way, no, para mas maging visual, mas maging colorful, mas ma-visualize ng ating estudyante yung lessons nila. Okay. So guide questions based on the diagram. What are the materials found at home? Classify these materials as solid, liquid, and gas. What are the materials that can be found inside the classroom? So again, classify them as solid, liquid, and gas. What are the materials that can be found both at home and in the classroom? So what can you say about materials found at home and the materials that can be found both inside our house and in the classroom? So are there other materials found in school aside from the materials that you can see inside our classroom? Let's learn more about this. Okay, so for example, school field trip matters. So let's go, okay, for an adventure. Let's go on an adventure trip. Okay, work with your group mates. Be sure to follow rules set by the class and visiting different areas of the school. So magkakaroon kayo ng school tour. Okay, so the different groups, okay, one group will go to the school canteen, one group with the school clinic, okay, another with the school library, and then school garden. So kapag medyo malaki ang school, walang problema ito. So just make sure na hindi nakaka-disturb ng kanilang yung everyday work, no? Kumbaga, mag-o-observe lang, titingnan lang ano bang mga bagay na meron sa loob ng inyong canteen, ano ba yung mga bagay na meron sa clinic, library, and school garden. Complete the table below as your designated area. An example given below serve as your guide. Okay, so meron tayong parang dito, checklist and worksheet. Place designated area to visit. So, school canteen. So, name of matter. Okay, for example, juice. Bawal kasi ang soda. So, juice, or for example, milk. Kung merong milk, ano ba yung classification niya? Liquid, ano ba yung characteristics? So, what else? May table. Okay, ano yung classification niya and characteristics? So, for guide questions, what are the materials found in your assigned area? And then classify them as solid, liquid, or gas. Let's have an interactive discussion. We have a question and answer portion here. So what are the materials in the school clinic, school canteen, and school garden? Okay, so we have here some of the materials that can be found in the school clinic. We have medicines, okay, we have hand sanitizer, gauze, cotton pads, okay, injections for some, okay, kung meron tayong legit na school nurse, okay, kung private school, and then yung for inspecting your teeth, no, yung ginagamit nila for na bed or parang upuan na pwede mong gamitin kapag if a dentist would visit your school, so they can check on your teeth, the status or the oral health, no, ng ating students. Okay, so but for the public schools, yung basics lang talaga yung makikita natin. Okay, and of course very kumbaga maswerte kapag meron tayong, although hindi natin there are a lot of public schools na magaganda ang school clinic nila, meron silang bed, no, para if in case hindi maganda yung pakiramdam mo, pwede kang mag-rest daan. They have mga emergency kits, no, may mga betadine sila, and then yung mga pwedeng gamitin in case of emergency. But of course, yung medicine, as we all know, hindi pwedeng basta-basta magbigay ng medicine sa bata na walang permission ng parents. Okay, materials found in the school canteen. So we have plates, vegetables, sauces, beverages. Okay, school garden, we have pots, we have pail, mga seedlings, and then yung mga materials that they use for planting. Okay, merong shovels, okay, merong rake, and then we also have hose. School libraries, of course, we have books, we have newspapers, a set of computers that they can use to research. So now, classify the materials as solid, liquid, and gas. Okay, for your performance task, Write a short story on your notebook with any of these titles. I am solid, I am liquid, and I am gas. Okay, so we have here to check some facts, properties of the chosen state of matter, pictures, drawings of the chosen state of matter, information about how the state of matter is measured and how it changes under different conditions. So information about how the state of matter is useful to people and society. Okay, let's have your takeaways. We have here our graphic organizer, so showing us, okay, you can state what matter is, matters at home, and then matters at school. So what are the different matters at home that you can classify under solid, under liquid, and under gas? Same thing, okay, in school, what are the matters in school that you can classify as solid, liquid, and gas? So we have here another question. What is the importance of knowing the different materials that we see around? So it is very important to know the different materials that we see around para alam natin kung paano ito gagamitin ng tama. And of course, kapag alam natin gamitin ng tama, katulad ng ating precaution kanina when we are conducting experiment, it would be beneficial for us. Kasi kapag hindi natin ginamit ito ng tama, it can bring harm to students and learners like you. So let's have our formative assessment. So given below are materials or things that we can see at home and in the classroom. Identify what specific matter or specific materials you can see or you can connect in each material or thing and classify them as solid, liquid, and gas. The first one is done for you. Okay, so for example, we have here, wow, okay, a vegetable viand, okay? May ulam tayo na gulay. So solid, different vegetables, boiled egg, and salt. Liquid, we can have fish sauce, water, and liquid seasoning. Gas, LPG used in cooking. So you're going to observe yung picture and then tell anong bahagi ba sa picture ang solid, ano ba sa tingin mo yung part na liquid, and then gas. So we have an aquarium. So solid, we have the aquarium itself. Liquid is yung water na ginagamit sa tank. Okay, you can have it as aquarium or tank. And then yung gas, of course, kapag may fish dyan, no, kailangan ng oxygen. So oxygen is a form of gas. So, especially kapag nilagyan na yan ng isda, kailangan nila ng oxygen. Okay, so another thing, ano ba yung mga solid dyan? Yung mga plants na nakikita natin, yung mga pebbles, ano pa, yung mga rocks, yung mga nilalagay nila dyan na pampaganda, no? Para gumanda yung ating aquarium. Okay, solid, we have the glass. Okay, we can also say na solid yung ating mga ice cubes. Liquid is the soda, kung soda man ito. And then gas would be, syempre yung soda, kapag, ay yung soda, diba? Para may spirito yun, no? So, yun yung nakikita nating nag-evaporate. So, again, kapag malamig, syempre, diba? Umuusap yan kasi malamig because of the ice. So, we can also put the, pwede nating ilagay yon under gas. Balloon. So, yung solid is yung rubber mismo, yung deflated balloon pa, and then yung string. Ano ba yung liquid? Liquid portion sa balloon. Kapag nilagyan mo siya ng tubig sa loob, para water balloon, pwede rin gamitin yon para mag-expand yung ating balloon. And then gas, kapag hinipan mo siya, no, using your breath, or kapag gumamit ka ng helium or pump para magkaroon ng air yung balloon. Okay, wow, we have here halo-halo. Solid is of course yung mixed fruits, beans, berries, bananas, gulaman, pinipig, okay, ice cream. So liquid is of course yung milk or yung water or yung syrup kapag nilalagyan. Gas is syempre kapag malamig. So nag-release yan ng parang air steam. So yun po yung ating gas. Alright, so good job, everybody. Great job for conducting a mini experiment. Okay, and for classifying and identifying the things around you as solid, liquid, and gas. And of course, thank you for being with me, okay, for the past 20 minutes. And I hope you find something new, you learn something new from our lesson for today. So this is Teacher Isa. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you and see you again next time. Bye-bye.